Right, I apologize if you can hear my laptop whirring in the way in the background. It's busy churning out the video that this one is quick response to. So here I am in Gorilla, and I just wanted to talk to you about the heat and the accuracy that I was kind of talking about. So I have opened the plasma rifle weapon tag here under Objects, Weapons, Rifle, Plasma Rifle. And I just wanted to show you exactly what I meant about heat. So I'm just going to scroll down, and heat is in a few places. So the first time we see it is here under flags. So this is something, it's pretty straightforward. Everything's pretty well documented here, but basically what it says is it can't fire at maximum age. So this means like when the battery's out, it's out. And let's see. Nope, that's everything that mentions for flags and heat, or heat and flags. And then here we have heat. So heat recovery threshold is, again, like I said, between 0 and 1, 0 being nice and cold, and all of this is well documented. I don't know if you can read that little comment there, but it says the heat value a weapon must return to before being able to fire it again after overheating. So that's 10. The overheated threshold is 1. There's also like heat detonation stuff, but that's beyond the scope of this. Heat loss per second, that's where I was getting this value from. And then there's also an overheated heat loss per second. So in this case, it's 0.35. One thing about editing this one is even if you change this to be higher or lower, it might not sync up with the overheated weapon animation, so that can be tricky. Just a heads up. Next up, and I guess I'll just point out some things as I go through. Here you have things like what melee damage it's using. I wouldn't touch that too much, honestly. Zoom, if you wanted to add magnification levels to your plasma rifle, that you would have to add HUD stuff to. And then here we have the aim assist. So this is what I was talking about before. So there's angle, range, fall off range, and then again, angle, range, and fall off range. And it's worth noting that the auto aim range also affects things like your red reticle distance. And yeah, red reticle distance. That's not that hard to say. Deviation angle. So this is something where, even if you have, say for example, the weapon aim assist bar here is the barrel. Normally, projectiles just come straight out or at a slight angle. The deviation angle pretty much says like how far can it like skew. And if you've ever played campaign and had Marines gunning for you in a Warhog, I'm sure you've seen it, where it seems like the bullets are coming out like sideways almost. That's deviation angle. Honestly, I eliminate it from most things just because it makes the game look and feel a little bit better. But for things like the Hornet, it's necessary. Movement, this is something where, for turrets, you go slower. And it's worth noting that, again, this is between 0 and 1, and this is 0.4 is 40%. That's how most things work. And going down, under miscellaneous, we again have some more heat and age stuff. So you can have age heat recovery penalties. So, how much the heat recovery. So like, for example, as you run out of battery, it doesn't overheat as efficiently. Your rate of fire penalty. So as you run out of battery, the rate of fire gets lower. Misfire chance, age of misfire chance, that kind of stuff. And yeah, moving down to firing. So under here, this is where you get your rounds per second. Pretty straightforward. And then here is the other these were the numbers that I was getting for the heat calculation. So heat generated per round, boom, right there. H generated per round, boom, right there. There is also an option to have a different value for campaign or multiplayer. I'm not sure why, but it's there. And then overload time. So this is pretty much just saying, you know, like for the plasma pistol, how long do you have to hold down the trigger before it becomes overloaded and it switches to a secondary barrel. But that'll be in my next video when talking about barrels. All right, and then talking about error, just gonna quickly find that. Here we go, error. So it's worth noting, by the way, that there's dual weapon error and single weapon error. A lot of times you'll see that the dual wield damage scale is just lowered. You can YouTube this to see what I mean. It's kind of ridiculous. Honestly, it's a bad system for balancing, but I digress. But here you can set, you know, different air angles and that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is where I was getting the numbers for the error formula. So there's minimum error, and then there's kind of the range, and here's the acceleration and deceleration times. Is there anything else? Not really. You know what? I'm just going to cover recoil in this one. Basically, it's very similar. So angle change per shot, you can put between like 1 and 3, which is probably going to be insane. And then your acceleration time 4 and your deceleration time 0. All this is going to say is if you're firing continuously for 4 seconds, you're going to start with every time you fire, the weapon is going to like kick up 1 degree, and then over those 4 seconds, it's going to change linearly to 3 degrees. So then by the end of it, it's going to be kicking up 3 degrees per round, which would be insane. And then your deceleration time, if you wanted to be 2, it would take 2 seconds for your angle change function to come back down. I might go into that further later on, but we will see. Anyways, thank you for watching. Don't want to make this one too long either. I'll see you on the next one when I talk about barrels and triggers.